102.1 WFOY. Chris Phillips with you this morning. Thank you for spending part of your morning with me. We are not only on the radio this morning on 102.1 FM, 1240. Yes. I so seldom say the numbers for AM, I almost forgot them there. 1240 AM, and we're on Facebook Live this morning on our WFOY Facebook page. You can also listen to us online at 1021news.com. I was just looking at our stats this morning for our page. We have this wonderful company that measures how many people have actually listened online. And we've had more than 250,000 people in the last 18 months that have listened online. And we really thank everybody for being a part of our WFOY family. I am so excited to have Tammy Sorrento back with us from Fireball Approves. Good morning to you, Tammy.
Good morning, Chris, and thanks for having us again.
Because I found out how wonderful she actually is. I knew she was wonderful because I'm so excited. My daughter has moved back to St. Augustine, and it just makes me want to cry. So I won't even talk about it anymore. She's running the. You could turn it on yourself so people could see you. No. Anyway.
Typical daughter. Mine wouldn't either.
My daughter and her fiance were looking for an apartment, a place to live, and I discovered how common it is, the scams that are going on out there. And Tammy, you've also brought a property manager with you. Candy Reddick is with us this morning as well, and good morning to you both.
Good morning.
So tell me a little bit about what all is going on out there.
Well, it is scary, and it's just like you said, these scams are widespread. And when you contacted us about the house that your daughter was interested in, we jumped on it. My staff contacted the property manager, so she was able to figure out who owned the property, who managed it. And in talking to Candy, and Candy, this is the reason why I brought her, is Candy knows about the scam that's on Craigslist.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it, it's a fake listing on Craigslist, and what does it say?
Well, I've had this happen many times. So what I discovered was that I had already had this property listed. I stopped using Craigslist for this reason because they typically hijack some of your photos. They write a listing, and so when I saw that they had done this, I didn't have it listed on Craigslist. It was listed for $2,250 a month, a beach home, and they listed it for $835. So they took 5 of my pictures, and so when I found this out, I said, I'm going to list all my pictures, which was over 20, the full description, and I'm going to put it on Craigslist to put a shadow of a doubt in every potential renter's mind, so they'll contact me to try to intercept the scammer. And it worked. I had an abundance of calls of people wanting to know what was going on so that I could try to beat the scammer. So, this is what happens. I've had a lot of experience with other people coming to me that didn't wire money or give money to a scammer on one of my properties, but had on others. And I felt horrible for them. So I thought, there's no way to report them on Craigslist when they steal your properties, your photos. So the best way is to try to put doubt in anyone who's looking at a property, is to list it again, but legitimately, and so that they come to you to question the price, and that's what had happened here.
Yeah. The sad thing is that it seems to have become a really common occurrence that people are out there doing this and taking a deposit from someone for a property that they don't have any association with whatsoever.
And it seems to be, commonly younger people or people who are really in a bind where they think, or they're newer to the area and they think, well, maybe this person that's owns the property doesn't realize the true value of the property because it's always underpriced for St. Augustine's market.
Yes.
So they think, well, they think they're getting a steal, but they're getting stolen from,
Right.
and so But they're very clever about the way they do it. They'll put pressure on, I've heard this from people, you know, that they'll say, well, I have a list of other people, you know, I had to leave for a family emergency, and I've got a list of other people that are ready to send me a deposit. So, you know, if you're not, you contacted me first, then I'm going to move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So they'll really put the pressure on them.
Well, and the other common theme seems to be, because I think people do question, well, I saw this listing somewhere else and it was way more expensive. Why do you have it listed and it's a much lower price? And the common story seems to be, well, I don't want to work with my property management company anymore, and so I'm doing it myself and I've lowered the price.
Well, on this particular instance, $835 a month versus $2,250, I can tell you what they did. They all contacted me to find out what the truth of the matter was. And when they're looking at 5 pictures versus 23, and I had it on Zillow, Trulia, you know, and another one, and then I put it on Craigslist, like I said, which I don't use anymore. I used to, but because of all of, you know, because Craigslist is built where you cannot report it directly to Craigslist, I just find it not to be a reliable site to list on.
Sure.
I thought, well, let me try to intercept, you know, and save some of the consumers, because ultimately it's not just the owners of the property that are my customers. The consumer is my customer as well, potentially. So, and not to mention, I just wouldn't want that to happen to somebody that I know, a family member, a friend. I've had people come in, as I told you, that a grandmother about a month ago that was raising her daughter's young child, and she just came in looking for a rental because she'd given a deposit. She had nowhere to go. She gave it to a scammer. And I never let somebody move in without a deposit. This woman had proof of everything. I told her, I wish she would have come to me at any point before. There were red flags everywhere. I would have worked with her if I had had something in her price range, even to split a deposit. I felt so bad for her. So that's why I just thought, so they do, when they see such a vast difference in price, this just proved on this one, they're not going to call the lower priced one and ask them, because they already have doubt about them. They're going to call the other one and they're going to ask them about the difference.
Sure.
You know, because, and mine's even saying my brokerage and everything else, because I'm listing it. You know, I'm not listing my name, I'm listing my brokerage name, the business.
Sure. Well, Tammy, let's talk a little bit about Fireball Approves and how you can step in and help people who may have found a rental property and to figure out whether or not a listing is legitimate.
Well, what we're finding is the most vulnerable for these type of scams are people coming from out of town. So as far as the areas, do they really know what the going rate is around that area? So those are the most common victims. In our case, you gave us the information that you had on the rental.
Yes.
And my staff contacted the owner and the property manager and confirmed that that was a illegitimate listing. So we were able to save someone from sending a deposit that they had no rights to that money. And after this case, Chris, I did go to the FBI building and spoke to an investigator, because I told him, I said, you know, as a business owner, I feel like I have a duty if I know that this is happening, and they gave me the information to report, and that's what we're going to do. So ultimately, we hope to shut them down, but then, you know, over the internet, they can just repost it. But we're doing everything we can.
Very good. We're going to hear more about Fireball Approves, how you can protect yourself if you're trying to find a place to rent, whether it's long-term or even a vacation rental, when we come back. Stick around. Tammy, I'm going to just adjust your...
How do I pause this?
No, you don't pause it. Just keep going. Just keep going. I'm going to have
just going to put it right there then.
Can you scoot up? Thank you, sweetie. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You know what's funny is my out-of-state owner, because it is out-of-state, that rents it and does do the research.
Really?
My lady from Virginia.
Yeah.
She's here today. She drove this weekend with her sons.
Yes, you were telling
They're
me.
renting. They knew the price was $2,250, and they're here today to look at it. Because we wanted them to verify. You know, look at the size of the room.
Can you see if you can get this to? I just want to make it shorter.
Okay.
Tammy, I'm
Push
gonna
me
have
up.
you move back.
Okay.
So that you're talking right into the front of the microphone.
Gotcha.
I think I'll have a better sound.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Like that?
Yep.
Okay.
Get really close to it.
Here we go.
Perfect.
Nice.
And so she had done her research online. She knew what the market was from Virginia,
Right.
you know, just from shopping online. And she's ready to sign the lease. And I said, look,
Huh?
I can't have any tea right now because it's
I'll
our
hold it in the 10
tripod.
days and I'll tripod. She's like, no, I'll come this week.
Somebody
She's
said.
here now. She's looking at it this morning. I have to be there at 9:45. Right after this.
You can respond to them if you
And
want.
she's
So,
bringing cashiers.
who
I'm
is
like,
Robert
okay, don't give it to
Mickey?
me. I want
Do
to
I
look
know
at it
him?
in person. Know this is the right place for you. You know.
I know.
So, and I think you met him. He's on Wednesday. They were all locals. They were all locals.
They said,
A lot of them.
no, they just asked if they said it was good on his back, so I was just seeing if I knew them or not, because I didn't check hands.
The owner maybe recently got the property and doesn't know the value of it. And they're really good. They have
Something good to bring up. Yeah.
Where they're going.
Can I go make some?
Can you see them both okay?
Yeah, you can see them.
I had to give my tripod to James.
Exactly. And that's basically what happened to
Can you
us.
just maybe
The whole
hold
reason that
it
we
and
came
wait
up with
till
this
the
was a
show's
vacation
over?
rental
We'll be
down
done
in
at
Key
9.
West. And same thing, when I said too many red flags,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. He called me 2 days later. Now, mind you,
Star pity.
I'm pretty astute.
Yeah.
And even my husband was saying, Tammy, what if that was a good deal and we're missing out? And so he called me 2 days later.
If it's that good of a deal, it's not good.
Right,
That's,
right.
Yeah.
But he gave me
Especially the
invoices.
keys.
Yeah, but
The only
he
way I
gave
can
me
remember the
invoices.
numbers of
So
Hot
I
Dog is
googled
to say
the
the
name and
original.
number and talked to a lady in Chicago, and she was like, "Why did he give you my information?"
That's really false.
It was.
That's really false.
Yeah.
To
It
even
was unreal.
give their information.
Right. And she was like, it was unreal. 'Cause can you imagine? She rented it over New Year's Eve weekend. Can you imagine trying to find another place?
Which owner did you speak with for this property? Because he doesn't have a home number list. Because they're deceased. No, for mine.
Oh, okay.
Who did you speak with?
That would have been, I guess she contacted you?
Yeah, because
yeah.
Because mine would have been the only one that she could have
Right.
gotten because the owner is recently deceased. It's a relative
Gotcha.
that inherited
It is 8:49 here at News Talk 102.1 WFOY. Tammy Sorrento is with me. She's the boss lady at Fireball Approves, and she has brought with her Candy Reddick, who is a property manager here in town, and we're talking about keeping yourself safe if you're running a property here, whether you're going to, and I shouldn't just say here, Tammy,
Right.
because you work all over the country.
Yes, we are nationwide.
Let's say you wanted to go on vacation and you wanted to, run a place. There's all sorts of websites now where you can rent somebody's house or something like that. But how do you protect yourself? What if the person that's listing that property doesn't even own the property and you send them a deposit?
The problem with that is it's going to be an act of Congress to get your money back. If you send your money to someone that does not own that property or an authorized agent for that property like Candy is. We had a situation in California. Now, you cannot find public records in California. That is not...
The property owner?
Yes, a
Okay.
property owner is not public records, but we had an inquiry
Right.
of someone that was interested in a rental there. We used our tools,
Mm-hmm.
and we found the owner, spoke to the owner, and they said, "Nope, we're not listening. We're not renting our house. We're living in it." So we saved them. And I'm just so thankful that we were able to save someone here
Absolutely.
from getting scammed. So
Yeah,
thank
because
you for having me back.
once you send the money,
You're not going to see it
it's
again.
done.
Chances are.
Yeah. So how do you all go about figuring these things out?
Well, once again, we use tools that are not available to the public.
Okay.
And those really come in handy when you're dealing with states that you don't have public records.
Yes.
But we will actually contact and speak to the authorized agent and determine, are you renting this home out for $825 or is it $22.50 like is the other ad on
Yeah.
Craigslist?
Right.
Because oftentimes you're looking for a place, maybe you don't see the extra ad that she ran.
Sure.
You may
sure.
just see the one.
Yeah.
And that's how they're getting people.
Yeah.
And we're going to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, these scammers have gotten pretty clever because here in Florida, of course, you can type in someone's address and find out who owns it. And I know in this instance that this person put his last name as the person
Right.
that's listed on all the public records as the homeowner. And so you think, well, what could be wrong here? It all
Exactly.
matches up.
Exactly. And especially if you're from out of town.
Yeah.
It was just a good thing that your daughter contacted you and you knew me. So we were able to
Absolutely.
take care of that.
Well, I think one of the other great things, this is a very tight rental market here in St. Johns
Oh,
County.
yes.
Everybody wants to live here.
Right.
And the wonderful thing about you all, Tammy, is you got back to me in like 5 minutes. Because you have to be that quick. If you find a property that you think you're interested in, you have to move
yes.
that quickly or you've lost it. Kenny knows that better than I do.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
in the business.
And it doesn't
So-
matter if it's a lower priced or higher priced, as I was saying. It's very competitive.
Yes.
So, you have to jump on it and be willing to, put in a credit application and put down a deposit before
Yeah.
somebody else beats you to the punch. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, and it's so unfortunate because it's expensive to rent a place. You usually have to have, what is it, first and last month's rent?
Well, a lot of rental agencies and individual owners do require that first, last, and security. I run credit and I do a national eviction screening and a criminal background. So because we require solid credit, we don't do last month's rent because we are looking for a really reputable tenant that has a solid credit history.
Sure.
So then we're not going to slam you with everything. We're already establishing that you're somebody that is worthy to be a tenant, and you're
Okay.
established. So we're looking for security first months. So,
Yeah.
and we even do a soft pull on your credit, meaning we send you an invitation, a link, so that you're basically pulling up your credit and you're sharing it with us, so that it doesn't count against you on your credit
Yeah.
if you're denied or you're accepted.
Sure.
But every rental agency is different, so it's wise to ask these questions.
Sure. But the bottom line is you still have to have a certain amount of cash
And
when
it's
you come to the
expensive.
table.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something for $850 a month or $1850 a month, when you multiply that out, it's costly. Plus you
Yeah.
add on all your utility connections, your moving costs. It's very expensive.
Yeah, and it's so unfortunate, Kenny, you were talking about the woman where if you end up losing your deposit, you're out of luck.
What do you do?
Yeah,
And she's exactly why, I do things like this. As soon as I'm pretty quick to find out when one of my properties has been hijacked by a scammer. Is I will blast them out and I'll list it where they have, and I'll make it real enticing for anybody who's interested in that property to call me, and all Fireball had to do was ask me, did you list on Craigslist? And I said, well, do you list on Craigslist? I said, well, I normally don't. I said, but I did because a scammer stole my photos. And I said, and I wanted to create doubt. I said, so, I mean, I went on, and she said, well, you answered all my questions right there. Thank you very much. Because I had 5 phone calls on that property on Wednesday alone, the day that I was contacted by them prior to that, from people who were looking at the lower rate. So it works. I mean, to me, it's just pathetic that a company such as a list like Craigslist, they are aware this happens, and all they do is list 1-800 numbers where you can report it, but they're not accountable at all for the listings that are being posted on their website, where you could make it so easy. I could send them a management agreement, a copy of it, between myself and the owner of the property, showing, hey, I have a right to post this property. This person, if they can't provide it, remove the listing.
Sure.
They're scamming people.
Yeah.
Why would they not want to do that for the consumer?
I don't know.
So that's why I stopped using Craigslist. So, not everybody's going to go to the extent that I do. Not that it's something tremendous, but my company, May Resort Rentals, that I've worked for 16 years. Not everybody's going to do that. I do it because I work for not just the owner, but the consumer, the potential renter as well.
Sure.
But I feel for these people. But other companies may not. But this is why Fireball is so critical, because Craigslist could care less.
Yeah.
But for short-term rentals, that's a whole different, which we have as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of the rental agencies in town don't do long-terms, but they do short-terms. And Fireball is really critical for the short terms, because, as she was mentioning her Key West experience, that can really save you.
Oh, absolutely. And not just the money, but also the hassle. I would have had 4 grandchildren under the age of 10. And can you imagine how horrific that would have been?
Get there to nothing, nowhere to stay.
Yeah.
And your money gone.
Exactly. So this is what we're keeping from happening to other people.
Sure.
And what she mentioned with Craigslist, I totally echo what she's saying. And what happens is, even if you report it, they're just going to change their email address and repost it.
Yeah, yeah. Now, Tammy, you do work in other areas as well, like for people that are purchasing a car.
Yes, a market that people are interested in is RVs. That's a lot of money that is potential if it were a dishonest listing.
Yeah.
So we're getting a lot of business from people looking at RVs. We also, what I love, and this is where it's just so fulfilling, Chris, is even being able to tell someone, yes, that car that you're looking to buy in Palm Coast is not reported as stolen and the information checked out. So, I mean, it's both ways.
Mind.
It's
Sure.
peace of mind. It's
Absolutely.
assurance.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Now, what's the best way, Tammy, for people to get to you, phone-wise or on the web?
They can contact us on the web. It's fireballapproves.com. And we have order forms. And what we're looking for is the address of the property,
Okay.
or car or owner, and the phone number and the email address. Because that's generally how you're corresponding. If you're not corresponding with a property manager, a actual company, then you're corresponding with someone on the other side of that computer. And how do you know?
Okay.
So that's where we come in.
Great. Fireballapproves.com. Tammy and Candy, thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
having
having
us.
You can turn it off now. You know how to do that?